Were you aware you can make dumb financial decisions when buying a home? Good afternoon. So, were you aware that you could make dumb financial mistakes when buying a home? You certainly can. Certainly can. I don't think anybody was surprised by that. Came across an article today I wanted to go over with you. It's all about home buying mistakes, and it's called the 17 dumb home buying states that hurt your wallet. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So let's go over it. See if we agree. See if not. Let's just get started. So here we go. It says, here's the start of the article. Of all the investment decisions you're likely to make in your lifetime, a home purchase is by far the most personal. I agree with that. So number one, ignoring your credit. So this recommends getting a credit report. But you know, if you're going to buy a home, it's kind of obvious. It says get your credit report, you get a free one, but it doesn't really matter. Whenever you get a mortgage application, whenever one is run for a pre-approval, they're gonna pull your credit. So just be mindful if you're planning on buying a home that you want to get your credit in as good of shape as you can. So I agree with that. House hunting without a buyer's agent, that's number two. It might be tempting to go it alone, armed with information available on the real estate portal sites, but that could be a big mistake. I totally agree. Make sure you find a good buyer's agent. Well, how do you find a good buyer's agent? Well, one that's available. So you have to be able to go show homes. One that you get along with. Why would you want to work with somebody that you didn't get along with? And then three, somebody that sounds knowledgeable. I don't know how that person will convey their knowledge on first meeting, but I like to just talk to when buyers call me. I like to just find out more about them and see what it is they're trying to do and see if there's a match there. I think that's the best way to go about it. Shopping with your heart versus your head. Now, this is a fascinating one. The idea is, you know, if you need to live in the city because of your job, you probably should live there and not in the country. But if you've got some job where you can commute, where you don't have to commute or something like that, you work from home, then maybe you live in the country. Whatever you choose to do, just make sure that it fits in with your overall lifestyle and what it is you do. So I do agree with that. I'd never really considered that one. Overlooking the larger financial picture. This is all about, you're going to have property taxes, you're going to have homeowners insurance, and then utility bills. And those things add up. And so you want to make sure that you do the best you can to, know those bills ahead of time. One of the things that a lot of people ask me when they do buy a home is they say, can you ask the current owners what their utility bills are about? And I ask, and most of the time I don't get the answer because the other agent doesn't know the answer, and the other sellers don't want to provide that information. There is places online where they could provide that information on the listing, but most people just choose not to. So you're kind of on your own there. The best thing to do is ask one of your friends in a similar size house on some of this stuff in a similar location. Treating real estate like a short-term investment. It says it goes without saying that homeownership has benefits you can't measure in dollars. But if wealth building is driving your decision to purchase, be prepared to wait for a payoff. It says homes don't always appreciate in value, and when they do, it typically happens over the long term. That's true. But if you bought a house right now in say 2019 and you thought it was expensive then, wait until you look and see what your house will be worth now when you try to sell it or what you can get for it. It's pretty impressive. Is that right? Does it happen that way all the time? No. And I always tell buyers, hey, 5 years. See if you can give yourself 5 years in a home, and I think you'll be in good shape. And for the most part, it works. Forgetting about the appraisal. You may be tempted to offer an asking price to make your offer more competitive, but that could mean bringing asking price to closing. This is true. Okay? This is true, and it's tough because what it normally means is that you have to start looking for homes in a little bit lower price tier in this market because you're going to have to bid more than asking on the house, and then you're competing with 4 other people, and it throws the numbers off on the appraisal because the house prices are appreciating so fast that appraisers are loath to give you that benefit to find those houses that are within that price range. They will get the information, but it just doesn't always help when you need it. That's one of the things that has affected me on a few houses when I've been on the selling side is that the house doesn't appraise, but we still get the deal done. It's just you have to on that end, you have to know that the buyer can bring that extra cash to closing. Then it says the next one, making a money mistake before closing. So it says your mortgage lender will pour over your credit history, assets, and debts as part of the mortgage approval process. But getting that approval doesn't mean you're out of the woods. The lender will check your finances again at the deal closes. That's right. They will usually call your employer, like, I think 7 to 10 days before you close on the house. I've had buyers go buy furniture on credit. That's opening a line of credit. That's normally not a good idea. Have not had anybody buy cars, but just know that whenever you open up a line of credit, it affects your ability to get a mortgage. So those are the big ones. Then it says more mistakes to avoid. I just wanted to go over these lightly. It says skipping the inspection. Even if you're going to buy a home as is, okay, I would recommend you get an inspection. You may not get any sort of ability to negotiate repairs with the seller, but at least you have the option to inspect and to know what could be wrong. I would say inspectors are probably 90% good, meaning they'll find 90% of the problems. There's still always going to be 10% that no one's going to know until they live there for a while. So don't think that just because you get an appraisal or get an inspection that it's going to be perfect. Just keep that in mind. So getting the wrong mortgage. This is one of those things like, is it the wrong mortgage or is it the right mortgage because of the situation you're in? So, 30-year fix is kind of the way most people like to think of things. But maybe maybe you want to do it a different way. So I'm going to say, just work with a good lender on that particular one. Putting less than 20% down. Again, I don't always have people put down 20%. I'm most of the time at 95% of the mortgage, so 5% down. That's what I see in the marketplace. Sticking with the first lender you talk to, well, that's a matter of opinion, a matter of choice. If you've talked to the lender and they seem to make sense, and you like that person, then you should work with them. And you say, well, they're charging one point more than the lender online. Well, local lender usually get the deal done faster or get the deal done right. And sometimes those fees at the end, they kind of show up at the end, so that your quote, it's not really accurate. So I would say, instead of sticking with the first lender you talk to, find a lender that you can trust, and they will take care of a number of things like putting down less than 20% down. They'll answer that question. They'll answer the question about the wrong mortgage. They'll answer the question on if you've got some credit problems. So I wouldn't worry about that. And they will also answer the next one, not investigating programs for first-time homebuyers. So there are times when there are programs for first-time homebuyers, and lenders will typically use that information to try and bring more first-time homebuyers into the marketplace with these programs. If you have a good lender, they're going to know about them, and if you trust that person, you'll know about that. They'll tell you about that program, and you can go with them. So sticking with the first lender you talk to should be changed to find a lender you can trust, and then go from there. Buying discount points. I've never had somebody buy discount points on a mortgage in my 15 years in business. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It just, I never see it. Maybe it's because where I'm at the beginning of the home buying cycle or home ownership cycle. And it could be that really throughout the history that I've been in business, mortgage rates have always kind of been below 5%. So maybe it's just more like where I'm at. Skipping the fine print, glossing over your sales contract, loan documents, or HOA covenants, conditions, restrictions could result in a nasty and expensive surprise down the road. I always recommend that you read the disclosures, the restrictions, the covenants in the neighborhood. That's an obvious one. I always like to go over the sales contract, loan documents, absolutely, all this stuff. I don't know that they're putting it all in fine print anymore. I think everything's kind of in the same size, but you should read it. Just read it. If you have questions, you can ask, but most of the time it's pretty self-explanatory. The next one, backing out of the deal. Yeah, that one will cost you money, especially if they're worried about you're going to lose your deposit. Well, what if you had $1,000 worth of inspections done? You're going to lose those too. So that's $1,000 out of you. And then there's time. When you get to the inspection phase, you may be 20 days into the deal. Okay. And if you're closed on 30 days, the next house after you back out of this one, that's another 30 days. So you can really cost yourself time. And I mean, if you're renting something like that, there's another rent payment you're going to pay. Rushing into a fixer-upper, a great deal quickly turns into a money pit if you overestimate your ability to renovate a handyman special. Absolutely. And also things to look out for. I mean, if it's got a foundation problem, do you really think that that's something that you want to start out with? Water problems, roofing problems, maybe a little different, but what if there's like settling? And how would you know that if you've never really done that sort of work? So rushing into a fixer-upper, very dangerous strategy. Best left to experts or knowledgeable people in the industry, my opinion. Borrowing too much. Some buyers take on a higher payment than they can manage comfortably, assuming the payments will get easier as their earnings increase over time. So, is it wrong to assume a positive financial future? No. But using that as the justification for the original mortgage is a problem. What do you think? What do you think about those things? Can you think of any other things that will cause any dumb mistakes that'll mess with your wallet in a home buying? Not finding the right agent will definitely cost you money. Jumping in a bidding war to win, solely to win, and not because you really like the house. I've seen that too. That's a weird one. I would not recommend that. But hopefully, if you're starting to look in the marketplace for a new home, hopefully these tips or this guide will kind of get you thinking in the right frame of mind for what you're going to be encountering. As it is, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one.